Hi everybody, this is Bonnie Barker with Bonnie Bay Crochet, and today I have a cable crochet doggy sweater. This is the first time I've ever crocheted a garment for an animal, and this one was made especially for a special corgi named Marcy, and I'll put some pictures right here so that you'll understand how this fits. This is a one skein wonder as crocheted for the medium size as shown here. In the video, however, I do explain how you can make this wider and longer should you need to make that kind of an alteration, and as well as altering the size of the straps for this particular design. This is an intermediate design, but I do believe that if you're a confident beginner, you should go ahead and give it a go. You may even be able to try to work one of these up with some yarn that you have in your stash, since this is a one skein wonder. If you need to make this larger, you're going to need a little bit more than that. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. For this project, I'm going to be using Paintbox Yarns Simply Aran. This is a worsted weight yarn, or number 4. This is 100% acrylic. Each of these balls has 201 yards, or 184 meters. And that's the equivalent of 3.5 ounces or 100 grams. For the record, this color is number 202, or it's commonly called champagne white. Now, if you don't have this yarn, feel free to substitute your favorite worsted weight yarn. The makeup of the material is really up to you. I just say that simply because I know that this yarn may not be readily available in all areas who are watching this video. I'm also recommending that you have a size I or 9 or 5.50 millimeter crochet hook, or the hook needed to reach gauge for this pattern. And it's also helpful if you have a yarn needle and a pair of sharp scissors. I'm also recommending that you have a couple of stitch markers and a tape measure. I'm also recommending that you have at least 2 buttons. You can actually add additional buttons if you'd like to this project, but minimally you're going to need 2 buttons. These are each 1 inch in diameter, and if your buttons vary slightly to 1.5 inch, that should be fine. Before we get started, I wanted to go ahead and show you the structure of this sweater, how it was put together, so that you'll understand the parts that we are working on. Okay, so this obviously is the part that goes on the top of your pet, and we are going to be starting at the bottom down here of the sweater, and then we're going to work across until we get to these 2 sections, which we will work separately as we continue. These will be added on afterwards. These are the strap. That's to secure the sweater under the tummy of the animal. And then we'll add this collar. And again, these can be made longer as needed for your pet. The size that I have made is a medium, and I'll have more descriptive information on that in the video. But for the record, let me go ahead and give you the length of this. This is approximately 12 inches long ways, and this is approximately 8 inches wide. Now, when we start the beginning, as we start the very beginning of this, and let's say you want this to be wider, I will give you information as we go forward on how to make this wider for your pet. Okay, so I just wanted to show that to you, just to show you that this is very easily customizable according to your pet's needs. To begin, we're going to start with a slip knot and a starting chain of 34. Okay, now that I've given you the starting chain of 34, this would be a good time for me to tell you about how to alter this. Okay, now if you want this to be wider than 8.5 inches, what you can do is add 3 stitches on both sides of this cable. Now, of course, we haven't done the cable yet, but if you're going to add additional wattle stitches, which are a 3-stitch increment, what you would need to do is add 6 stitches for every wattle stitch that you want to add to each side. And let me tell you, if you add 2 wattle stitches, you're going to be adding about a 1.5 inch width increase. Okay, so if you want this to be about as wide as this, which is adding 1.5 inches to the width, then you would add an additional 6 chains according to the gauge. Okay, if you want it even wider than that, then you make that 12. So you're going to be adding multiples of 6. And when you do that, for every additional multiple of 6 you add, when we get to the wattle stitches, you're just going to have 1 additional wattle stitch than I am going to be instructing on. Okay, so just wanted to make that clear. That is how you can adjust the width. The length is going to be easily adjustable. You just work additional rows. So hopefully that's going to be enough for me to cover on adjustment on the size for this. If you need additional information, just comment in the video below, or you can always contact me. My email address will be in the video description. Now for row 1, we're going to work a double crochet in the 4th, 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4th chain from the hook, and in each chain across. At the end of this row, you should have a total of 31 double crochets. And now if you've added 6 chains to this, you'll have 37. So you'll have an additional 6 or whatever number you may have added to adjust for the width. But for those of you who are just sticking with the program here as is, we're going to have 31 double crochets at the end of this row. After completing all those double crochets, we're going to turn for row number 2, and rows 2 and 3 are going to be the same. We're going to be working that ribbed section, and so what we're going to do after that chain 2 is we're going to skip the first stitch, and then we're going to work a front post. That's where you work the hook around this stitch. It's a front post double crochet, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 for the front post. And for the back post, we wrap our hook, bring the hook from the back or come in the back door. The hook goes around the body. It's like you're giving the stitch a belt. Pick up that loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's the back post. That was a very quick explanation. If you need more detailed information on that, please check the video description, and I'll try to have a link there for another video that spends more time on this. So for front post, we're just going to alternate again, front post and then a back post. These are all double crochets. So go ahead and work this all the way across. Front post, back post. Row 2 ends with that back post double crochet and then a half double crochet worked into that chain 3 space. We're going to turn and chain 2, and we're going to do the same thing again. Skip the first stitch, front post double crochet in the next stitch, followed by a back post double crochet, and that's going to be the repeat again. Front post double crochet followed by a back post double crochet. Work that all the way across. At the end of the row, we're going to work a half double in the chain 2 space. So go ahead and finish row 3. So this is what you should have after completing 3 rows. Now for row 4, we're going to begin our pattern stitch. We're going to turn and we're going to work a chain 2. Now we are going to work 4 wattle stitches. So now we're going to start those wattle stitches. We're going to start them by working in the first stitch. We work a single crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet. So those 3 stitches together constitute a what we call a wattle, W-A-T-T-L-E stitch. Then we're going to skip 2 stitches, 1, 2. Then we're going to make another one in the next stitch. Single crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet. And you can see how when you skip those 2 stitches, how that double crochet lays down along there and kind of fills in the gap. Okay, skip 2 stitches, and then the next one, we do that again, single crochet, chain 1, double crochet, skip 2, and this is the last one, single crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then skip 2 stitches. The next thing we're going to do is work 3 front post double crochets. Okay, so after those skip 2 stitches, we're going to work 3 front post doubles. This is working the foundation for the center cable. Now before I forget, let me back up. If you have added additional stitches, you need to make sure that you add them before you work this foundation. Okay, just for those of you who are altering the numbers a bit. All right, half double in the next stitch, worked through the top loops, and then another 3 front post double crochets. When you work these front post doubles, don't worry if it doesn't match up to the ribbing, because we're not working ribbing any longer on this project. Okay, after that, we're going to go back to working those wattle stitches. Now be careful, because we've just used this stitch, which and the top of the loops are here. So the next stitch is right here. We're going to work a wattle stitch. We're going to work actually 4. So that's the 1. Skip 2 stitches, and then we're going to work this in the next one. Skip 2 stitches, and then the next stitch. Skip 2 stitches, and then that next stitch, single crochet, chain 1, double crochet, excuse me, and then we're going to work a single crochet in the turning chain, which we're going to skip those 2 stitches again for that wattle stitch, and then single crochet in the turning chain. So let's pause and take a look at what we have. All right, now we're on to row 5. This is the back side. So the even number rows are going to be the front side facing, and the odd number rows will be the back side facing. Okay, so we're going to chain 2. Now we're going to be working in those wattle stitches. We don't work in the first stitch. We just work in the chain 1 spaces that you can see here that were formed by those wattle stitches. And then we work a wattle stitch in those. Single crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And we do that 4 times, only in the chain 1 spaces. So just don't want to be too wordy on this, but don't work in the single crochet or the double crochet at this point. So we're just working in the chain 1 spaces and working wattle stitches again. If you've never worked these before, I believe this will, your muscle memory will pick up on it during this project. Okay, so now for the next 3 stitches, we've come to those post stitches. They're on the other side. So we're going to work 3 back post double crochets. This is further building that foundation for this cable that we're going to be working down the back of this sweater. Half double in the next half double. So again, in case I didn't say it clearly enough, 3 back post double crochets, half double, and then 3 more back post double crochets. Now, working in those wattle stitches in the chain 1 space only, we work wattle stitches, single crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And again, there are 4 of them. There will be 4 on each side of the cable for many rows to come. Okay, and then we're going to work in that chain one space, or the turning chain, which might be a little trickier to see. We work a single crochet. All right, chain 2 and turn. So this is what you should have after completing 5 rows. Now for row 6, we're actually going to cross the cable, and I'll show you how to do that once we get to that point. Chain 2, and again, just working wattle stitches in the chain 1 space. So you can see just how easy this sweater is going to be to make. And so this is the 3rd wattle stitch. Again, just working in those chain 1 spaces. Okay, so now we come to the cable crossing. We're going to skip the next 3 stitches. We're going to work a half double into that half double working through the top loops. Now we're going to prepare for front post treble crochet. So that's a taller stitch. We only use the front post trebles for crossing the cables in this design. So front post treble in the next 3 stitches. Now working in front of those last 4 stitches, that would be that half double and those 3 front post trebles. We're going to front post treble here, here, and here. Those are those 3 stitches that we skipped. Come way over to this side first. So that's 1, 2 front post trebles, and a 3rd, 3 front post trebles. This is also what I refer to as a front cross, because we're crossing in front of stitches, and this project has only front crossings in it, so it should be fairly approachable for a confident beginner. Working in those chain 1 spaces, work wattle stitches in the next 4 wattle stitches. Okay, I know I'm going a little fast with these wattle stitches, but hopefully you'll understand it. It's a very simple single crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Should you need to slow the video down, look at the bottom of your screen. You'll have to stop the video. You'll see a gear shaped icon. If you click on that, it will bring up a playback speed. That is, unless YouTube changes this anytime soon, but there is always a way to go to the playback speed and pick a slower speed, and that way you can slow this video or any of the videos on the YouTube platform to your desired speed. If you're really bored and want to speed me up, you can do that too, so have fun with that. All right, so we get to the end of the row and we work a single crochet in that chain 2 turning chain, and this is what you have after completing 6 rows. So let's go ahead and let's look at row number 7. I'm going to turn to have the back side facing, chain 2, again work wattle stitches in those chain 1 spaces from the last rows, wattle stitches. And 4. I will slow down on this cable, I promise you. Now, with the back side facing, and this is the row after the cable has crossed, all we're going to do, we're going to work 3 back post double crochets, and they come in the order. Let me go ahead and pull this back. It could come in the order that you see the V's on top of the stitches, or what you can do is you see the stitches that are on top on the back side. Those are the ones that we start with, and we just go in order. 1, there's the second one, 2, and 3. Now there is no longer a half double, but we're going to make one in between that last stitch and the next stitch. This is where these two columns are crossed. You should be able to stick a finger in there so that you can see where that opening is. Work a half double crochet right there. After that, there are 3 more back post double crochets, and these are the ones that are behind. So definitely use the nerve endings in your fingers and your thumb so that you can find these. Okay, this is the second stitch, and the third is right here. Now we did add a half double right there. We added one to the stitch count here, but we're skipping this one. So for those of you who are mathematicians out there, just to let you know that the stitch count is going to stay constant. Even though we added that stitch, we are skipping this stitch, so all is good. They cancel out. After that, 4 more wattle stitches. That's 2, whoops, and 3, and the 4th, and a single crochet in that turning chain. Okay, so let's take a look at what you have. This is what you have after completing 7 rows. So now I have a small assignment for you. So now for rows 8 through 27, we are going to repeat rows 4, 5, 6, and 7, a total of 5 times. Now when you go back to row number 4, and I will start you on row number 4 just to be clear. If you go back to row 4, you're going to be skipping stitches on the foundation row. The only thing that's going to be different about repeating row number 4, and I'll show you this right now. We're going to chain 2, and we're just going to work those wattle stitches in the wattle stitches instead of working it in a foundation. Okay, so go ahead and work rows 4 through 7 with the stipulation again that the wattle stitches are worked into the chain 1 spaces. All right, so go ahead and work through rows 27, and I'll show you what I have. This is what you should have after completing 27 rows. And I'll look at this a little more closely with you. You have the beginning part of the cable here. You have 1 cable crossing, which we worked together. Then you should have another one here. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cable crossings. Okay, and that gives you fully developed cables here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. Okay, so now for row 28, we're going to repeat row 4 one more time, and I'll start this one with you. And this is going to be those 4 wattle stitches. So after working those 4 wattle stitches, you're going to work 3 front post double crochets, a half double, 3 front post doubles, and 4 wattle stitches, and then a single crochet in that turning chain, just like we've been doing on the repeats of row 4. So this is what that section will look like after completing row 28. Now we're going to move on to where the pattern says decrease sections. So let me explain what we're going to do, and then we will do it. Okay, looking at the completed sweater, we are first going to work not the collar, but just this section, which is going to decrease, and then we're going to just add to that section. This is the part that fastens, I'll show you, that fastens underneath the dog's chin, kind of going around the head. All right, again, this is another section that if you want this to be longer, you can certainly make it longer to be a better fit. But we are right here in the pattern, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn and we're going to start working inward to make these decreases. So I'll put this over here, And let's go ahead and start. So we are going to turn, and for the left side, this is the left side with when the front side, of course, is facing. So what we're going to do is chain 2. We're going to work 3 wattle stitches. That's 1. Go ahead and put that down there. And the second wattle stitch. And the third wattle stitch. Again, these are just worked in those chain 1 spaces, just like we've been doing. Now, in the next wattle stitch, we're only going to work a single crochet, and that is it, because this is going to be the beginning of our decreasing. Now we're going to turn, and this is row 2 of the left side, chain 1, and we're going to skip that single crochet, and we're just going to work 3 wattle stitches. Again, this is working that decrease section that's going to help to define that neckline. Okay, and then we work a single crochet in that turning chain. We're going to want to keep this edge straight. All right, so now we're going to turn. As you can see, these rows are going to tick off very quickly. For row 3, we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to work a wattle stitch in those first 2 chain 1 spaces, or wattle stitches from the previous row. And then we're going to work a single crochet in that next wattle stitch. See, we've decreased. We've gone from 4 to 3 to 2 wattle stitches now. Now for rows 4 through 15, we're going to chain 2. We're going to work 2 wattle stitches, 1 in each of those next 2. And a single crochet in that turning chain. Chain 2. Okay, so that was row 4. And we're just going to continue doing this until we have 15 rows. But just for purposes of teaching, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to mark row 4. Okay, so that started here. So I'm going to mark it right here. And that way I know that's row 4. And so what I can do is count from 4 to 15 as I work these rows. But let me go ahead and work this one for you. This is row 5, which again is the same as row 4 on the left side. Okay, 2 wattle stitches. And then we're going to work a single crochet in that chain 2 space. And so basically that's what we're going to do until we have a total of 15 rows. So go ahead and work rows 4 through 15. And again, that's just working over those 2 wattle stitches and then a single crochet at the end. So go ahead and work that. At the end of row 15, we're just going to fasten off. So let's go ahead and get our sharp scissors, leave a generous strand, so that would be easy to weave this in when we get to that point. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at what you have at this point. So we have our dog sweater, and we have the left side completed. This is the section where we will attach buttons. Now, I want you to turn to have the back side facing, and we're going to work the right side. So I'll go ahead and turn this again, and with the front side of the project facing it'll be the part that is on the right side. So I'm going to turn. It's going to look like it's the left side, but that's why. This is the right side. And what we're going to do is we're going to rejoin on row 28. So this is row 28. That's the last row that we worked. And if you want to count from the left side, we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. So in that very first wattle stitch that appears as you go across, or you can count in to that wattle stitch, we're going to join with a slip stitch. So what I like to do is make a slip knot, pull it through, and give it a chain. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to work a single crochet in that space. And then we're going to work wattle stitches in each of the 3 wattle stitches. Okay. Single crochet, chain 1, double crochet. We're basically going to mirror image what we did on the other side, but again with a twist, because we're going to be adding buttonholes on this side. And don't be afraid of that. It's quite easy to do. All right, so that is row 1 of the right side. So now for the right side, row 2, we've chained 2, and we're going to work 3 wattle stitches. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to work a single crochet in that single crochet from the last row. Now we're going to work right side, row 3. We're going to start by turning. We're going to work a chain 1. We're going to single crochet in that first wattle stitch, and then we're going to work 2 more wattle stitches. And then a single crochet in that turning chain. Okay, so now we're going to turn to work rows 4 through 9, which are going to be the same as the left side. Rows 4 through 9. I'm going to chain 2. We're going to work a wattle stitch in each of the next 2 chain 1 spaces. And then a single crochet. In this case, it's in a single crochet, but it will be in a turning chain for the next few rows. So that was row 4. Here's row 5. Let's go ahead and mark row number 4, just like we did the last time. I'll go ahead and mark it right here so that we know that's 4. So we're only working to row 9. So this is row 5. And single crochet in that turning chain. I'm going to turn, chain 2. So I'm going to work now rows 6, 7, 8, and 9, which are going to be worked the same way. Wattle stitch, and a single crochet in the turning chain. So go ahead and work those rows. So this is what you should have after completing through row 9 of the right side. So we have row 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, just to verify. So let's go ahead and turn for row 10. This is where we establish a buttonhole, and the way we're going to do this is we're going to work a chain 2. We're going to single crochet in that first wattle stitch. Okay, after that we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to work a wattle stitch in that next wattle stitch, and then a single crochet in the turning chain. So let's take a look at that. So you have a single crochet, the chain 3, which is going to be the buttonhole, and the wattle stitch and a single crochet. So now we're going to reinforce it. This is with row 11 of the right side, chain 2. We're going to work a wattle stitch in that first wattle stitch, first chain 1 space. We're going to work 3 single crochets in the chain 3 space. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to work a single crochet in that turning chain. Okay, so that was row 11. Now for row number 12, this is of the right side still. We're going to chain 2. We're going to skip that first stitch. We're going to single crochet in that next single crochet. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches and that double crochet, which is part of the wattle stitch, and working in the chain 1 space, we're going to work another wattle stitch, single crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then a single crochet in that chain 2 space. All right, turn for row 13, chain 2, single crochet, make that a wattle stitch, which is the single crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the chain 1 space. Working in the chain 3 space, we're going to work 3 single crochets again. And you should be able to see how these holes are being reinforced and further defined by these stitches. Okay, afterwards we're going to work a single crochet in that chain 1 space, just like that. So now for row 14, we're going to chain 2, skip the first single crochet in that next single crochet, chain 3, skip the next 2 single crochets and that double crochet, part of the wattle stitch, work a wattle stitch in the next stitch, or the chain 1 space, and a single crochet in that turning chain. And for row 15, give that a chain 2, working in the wattle stitch, work a wattle stitch, single crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then in that chain 3 space, again 3 single crochets, and then a single crochet in that turning chain. So now we should have 3 buttonholes just like that. Now for row 16, and this is the final row, for the right side, we are going to chain 2, okay, and we're going to work, skip that first stitch, and the next stitch we're going to work a wattle stitch, single crochet, chain 1, double crochet, skip the next 2 stitches, and then we're going to work a wattle stitch in that next chain 1 space, which was a wattle stitch of the last row, and a single crochet into that turning chain. Go ahead and give it a chain and a tug, and we're going to fasten off, leaving a nice generous strand that can be woven in. So this is the right side, which will have the buttonholes, and again the left side, which is where we will affix our buttons, and it will come around just like this and around the dog's neck. Now we're going to work a perimeter round, and let me just briefly explain what we're going to do. We're going to join with a single crochet, and let me go ahead and show that. So this is the lower right corner. This is with the front side facing up. We're going to join our yarn with a slip knot. And we're going to single crochet our way evenly up the side. I'll do a little bit of this with you, but I'm not going to do all of it. We're going to go all the way up to the corner, and I'll show you how to do those corners. And then we're going to come around the next section, again just working evenly in single crochets up here, and then all the way down to this point, and then fasten off. We're not going to work along the ribbed edging. Okay, so I'm going to work just a little bit of this with you, and I am not going to give you an exact number of single crochets because honestly it does not matter. What matters the most is that these single crochets are crocheted evenly. You don't want them to be so tight that they're pulled, or so many that you get a wavy look. And if you're getting either of those are extremes, then you need to, change how many single crochets you are working, either increase or decrease the number. And this can vary per crocheter, and also depending on the yarn you're using and so forth. So because of those variations, I'm not going to give you an exact number because I don't want you so focused on that you will inadvertently, create problems, and that just would overcomplicate a project like this. Okay, so I have crocheted along the side, and you can see that that's fairly even. I could even give you an average of stitches, but it's not necessary, I don't think. So just crochet evenly along that side, and I'll show you what it looks like to turn the corners. So now I am nearing the corner of the right side, and so let me show you what I'm going to do for this. So when I get to that chain 2 space, I'm actually going to work 3 single crochets to kind of turn that corner and give that corner some shape, and then work evenly in the stitches as they come across. And I'm actually going to work 3 more in this next corner, and let me show you how that looks. See how that kind of smooths it out? And it's also adding some structure to these sides. And then I go back to working in the row ends. And I am averaging about, 1 stitch for the chain 2s, and then 1 for that single crochet. So I'm averaging approximately 1 stitch per row, but I'm telling you that just as kind of on the side. You may need, depending on the tension that you're using, you may need to put extra stitches here and there that I'm not using if your tension is a bit tighter. We can go ahead and take out our stitch marker at this point since it's no longer needed. And I will show you what it looks like to go along the neck curve here. I'm not going to bore you with all of this because I think you understand what you need to do. Okay, so I'm getting to the curved section, and I'm just putting stitches as I can. And then when you get to this part, this is the easy part actually, because you just work in to those top loops. And then we get to the other side, and we'll just do that in the same way. So I'll go ahead and work this section again along the side. It's very, very easy. Just looking for the gaps to work in. Let's go ahead and remove our stitch marker, and then after that curve, we're back to working in the row ends again. Okay, so let's go ahead and show you where we've been. Okay, so just go ahead and finish up and around this section all the way down the side, and we're going to fasten off at the end right here. We're not going to work on the ribbing. This is what you should have after completing that perimeter round. Notice we still have lots of strands we need to hide before we're completely finished. All right, so now we're going to work the ribbed collar. And let's go ahead and get our stitch markers out before we do this. Starting in the center, which is the stitch right here that's in that half double crochet, we're going to count 12 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we're going to go ahead and mark this stitch. And we're going to do that again over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Now this is another area where you can customize this. If you're making this for a larger dog, you're going to want to carry this a little bit further on both sides so that the ribbed collar will look larger. Okay, so actually let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna make mine a few stitches wider just to show how easy that is. I'm gonna go 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3 stitches this way, and I'm gonna do the same on the other side. I'm gonna go 12, 13. I'm gonna go 15 stitches. 13, 14, 15. Okay, just to show you how easy this is so that you can customize this. And I kind of think it might look better with a slightly wider collar anyway. So now what we're going to do, that we have set these in place. So for the ribbed collar, row 1, we're going to join with a slip stitch to that place that has that first marker. Let's go ahead and put that marker over there. We're going to chain 2. 1, 2. And starting in the next stitch, or actually in the very same stitch, we're going to work a front post double crochet. Then we're going to work a back post double crochet. And we're going to work that all the way until we get to the stitch marker over here. Front post, and then a back post. These are all double crochets. Front post, double crochet, back post. And I know it's a little more awkward doing these in single crochets, but as I'm showing you, it's actually not too difficult at all. So go ahead and work this until you get about 1 stitch from that stitch marker. So as we near this last stitch marker, I'm going to go ahead and work a back post in that next stitch. And where the stitch marker is located right here, we're going to work a half double crochet worked into that space. And let's go ahead and remove this because we don't need its assistance any longer. So now for the next 2 rows, this would be the ribbed collar rows 2 and 3. They're going to both be worked the same way. We start with a chain 2, and very similar to where we started at the very beginning of this project, we skip that first stitch and we work a front post double crochet and then a back post double crochet. So go ahead and work that all the way across, and at the end right here where the chain 2 is, we're going to work a half double crochet in that chain 2 space, and then you're going to turn, and for the next row, row 3, it's going to look the same, exactly the same. All right, and I will show you how to fasten off at the end of row 3. After completing row 3 of the collar, and I've worked my half double in that chain 2 space, go ahead and give it a chain and a pull, and again cut a long enough strand so that it will be easy to hide with our yarn needle. Okay, so now we are ready for the 2 straps that hold the sweater onto the abdomen. Okay, so for the first strap, and this is going to be on the left side of this project, we're going to measure 7¼ inches, which is approximately 8½ centimeters. Okay, and we're going to measure from the bottom of the sweater, which is right here, okay, to right there. So that's the 0 point. I'm gonna just put a little marker there. I'm using my yarn needle as a little marker because that's going to be where we begin the belly strap row 1. Okay, so let's go ahead and take that out. We're going to start it right there. You can kind of, I guess it could be either here or here because this is an estimation. All right, so let's get our yarn and get ready to attach the belly strap. Okay, so now to start on these straps, I've removed my little marker that I was using to mark this spot. So we bring this in, going to chain 2, and then we're going to work front post, double crochet, and then back post, double crochet. We're going to do that 2 times. So that was 1, and then the second set. So front post, back post, front post, back post, and then we're going to work another front post, and then we're going to work a half double crochet, working in the top loops of that next stitch. Okay, now we're going to turn to work row 2 of the belly strap, and again this is on the left side, chain 2, and then skip that first stitch. We're going to work a back post, double crochet, a front post, a back post, and a front post, and a back post, and then a half double crochet. All right, so that's row 2 of the belly strap. For rows 3 through 14, you're basically going to be repeating rows 1 and 2 again. So just to start you on row 3 with a chain 2, skip that first stitch, and then we do front post. You're basically maintaining what you see. If you see a front post, work a front post. If you see a back post, work a back post. So we're going to go ahead and repeat this over through row 14. So go ahead and repeating rows 1 and 2 6 more times. Go ahead and work through row 13. Again, that's half double in that turning chain, or rather rows 3 through 14. So after completing 14 rows for the left strap for the belly, I have a piece that measures approximately 6 inches. Now, again, if you have a dog that is heftier than that, that needs more length, go ahead and you can add additional rows now. But after completing 14 rows, I'm going to go ahead and just fasten off. Okay, and I know with all the different dog breeds out there, size varies greatly, and that's not a problem. But just make sure that you make these, additionally lengthened if you need to. It's not a problem. Okay, so now this is what we will have after completing that left belly strap, and this is where the buttons would go. I just added one, but you can add multiple if you want to help reinforce the chances of the sweater staying on. All right, so now let's look at the right side. So now we're going to work the buttonhole belly strap. This is on the other side, and I've gone across from where I started this strap, or actually where I ended this strap, and we're going to go kind of evenly across, and I've determined that this stitch is the one that's closest to it. It's a little trickier because we're not measuring the 7.25. If we did, it would be right about there, but that's going to be approximately the width of the next strap, so that's about at the right place. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and start. Okay, we're going to join with the slip knot. Let's see, I do our slip knot. I like to join actually with chains, so we're going to let's pull that down a little bit. Chain 2. I do have the front side facing again, and we are going to work the first 8 rows the same way that we worked the other strap, but I'll work a couple of these with you. So we're going to work a front post, a back post, a front post, a back post, and another front post. So it's 5 stitches plus the turning chain. Okay, and so after we do that, we work a half double crochet in, actually not there, right here in that next stitch that's closest, because we don't want a big gap. All right, turn. Again, I'm doing exactly what we did for the left side. Chain 2, skip that first stitch, and then back post double crochet, front post, back post double crochet, front post double crochet, back post, and then a half double worked in that turning chain. So I'm going to continue to do this for the next through row 8. So, and again, the instructions are the same as what we did on the left side. So go ahead and continue working this, and I will show you what we have after 8 rows. This is what you should have for 8 rows of the buttonhole belly strap. Okay, so now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. We're going to work a front post. We're going to skip that first stitch, work a front post, double crochet. Now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and skip the next 2 stitches, 1, 2. Then we're going to work a back post, double crochet, and then a front post, double crochet, and then a half double worked into that turning chain. Okay, so that's what you should have. Let's go ahead and turn. For row number 10, we're going to chain 2. We're going to work a back post, double crochet, again skipping the half double as usual, front post, double crochet. After we do that, we're going to work 2 half double crochets into that turning chain. Notice that that is different from the way we did the buttonholes in the other straps. Okay, we're working them slightly differently. So back post double crochet, and then a half double. Okay, so that's row number 10. For row number 11, we're going to chain 2. We're going to work front post double crochets, back post double crochet. It's working over that half double, front post double crochet, back post double crochet. And now you know why we only worked 2, because we're keeping the ribbing intact. So front post and then a half double worked into that next half double. Now we're going to turn to work row 12. We're going to chain 2. We're going to work back post double crochet, a front post double crochet. We're going to chain 2. We're going to skip 2 stitches. Then we're going to work a back post double crochet, and then a half double worked into that turning chain. This is for the second buttonhole. After that, for row 13, chain 2. We're going to work a front post double crochet, 2 half doubles into that chain 2 space. Then we work a back post double crochet, a front post double crochet, and a half double. That again is row 13. So for row 14, chain 2, and we're going to skip that first stitch, and we're just going to work back post double crochet, front post double crochet, and then we're going to repeat that. Back post double crochet followed by a front post double crochet, and then we pick up the next back post and then a half double crochet. Okay, so now you have 2 nice size buttonholes. So now for the last 3 rows, rows 15, 16, and 17, we're going to repeat rows 9 through 11 one more time. And I'll do that with you. Chain 2, skip that first stitch, front post, double crochet, chain 3, this is for that buttonhole, skip 2 stitches, and then we're going to work a back post in that next post stitch, followed by a front post double crochet, and then a half double worked in that turning chain. I'm going to turn yet again, chain 2, skip that first stitch, back post double crochet, then a front post double crochet, 2 half doubles worked into that chain 3 space, back post double crochet, and then a half double in that turning chain. Row for this belly strap, and the last row for the project as well. Skip that first stitch, front post double crochet, followed by a back post double crochet, front post, followed by a back post double crochet, front post double crochet, and then a half double worked into that turning chain. And again, if you need a longer belt, this is the time to do it. But I'm going to go ahead and fasten this one off for the size that I'm working on. Trim, leaving a nice long strand so that I can work these into my project. So let me go ahead and take just a minute or so and show you how to do this. We're going to take this yarn needle, and I'll just show you how I like to work these in. Of course, the stitches may present themselves in various ways, but I'm going to go ahead and bring this down into the work like so. And I do like to work on the back side so that, you know, if there's a chance that this shows, so that it doesn't become prominent in the work. So I'm going to do that. And I'm actually going to bring it back up into this, because when you work post stitches, it's actually kind of nice because it gives you a lot of fabric to work in your loose ends, and fabric that's generally, pretty snug and tight, so it won't be able to pull back out. If you can, when you're working these in, if you can work it one direction and then another, that kind of helps keep this from, just working out. And then I like to pull back on the stitches, so that when I do give it a nice clip, I'm going to cut it close to my work, but I'm careful not to cut my stitches, and therefore I'm pulling back, and that strand is gone. You're not going to see that. So yeah, so I hope that's helpful. So you need to go ahead, and there are several of these that you need to hide throughout your work. So go ahead and take the time to do that now. The very last thing that you need to do is to position your buttons to be sewn on. As you can see, I used a yarn and yarn needle with these particular buttons. Now, the buttons that you chose may require you to use regular sewing thread, and that's perfectly fine. It really doesn't matter. Just make sure that you have these secured as well as possible. And I secured the other button here. Now, if you have multiple buttons, you can put a couple of buttons on. Make sure, that it matches. Let's turn it over this way. Make sure that it matches, where these buttonholes are. So you can reinforce, by using multiple buttons. Although I will tell you, if you have a squirmy puppy, the more buttons you have to fasten, the more difficult it's going to be. That I will say one thing that's a plus about this particular design is that it buttons around the dog's neck, below about where the collar would be. And that's a plus if you have a dog that's afraid to have a sweater pulled over their head. A lot of sweaters out on the market today, and they're perfectly fine to do so, but the dog sometimes can freak out when you have something being pulled over their eyes and their face and everything. Another thing I wanted to say about the buttons are fairly secure. And of course, if you have two buttons on here, that would be a little more insurance that the sweater is not going to pop off easily. Now, my son and daughter-in-law's dog have a sweater that's actually fastened with Velcro. Now, if you live in an area that does not get a lot of snow, that may work for you. You can just Velcro it shut by sewing, Velcro on both sides of these straps, and that should be fine. But my son noticed that when the dog is out playing in deep snow, which they have had recently, the Velcro tends to get filled with the snow, and then the Velcro becomes ineffective and no longer holds, and then it ended up the dog's sweater just came off. So because of that, I would recommend that maybe you just stick with the old-fashioned buttons. Well, I hope you enjoyed my cable crochet doggy sweater today. If you did, please let me know. Please feel free to comment in the comment section below. God bless. Bye-bye.